Hey guys, we are live. I just want to see if this is actually going to work. I'm just experimenting with a new phone mount here because I would like to do some more live streams from the car. But so this is going to be a little experimental live. I don't know what the sound is going to be like. Um, but we'll find out. We'll find out on the replay. I'll watch the replay, or you guys will tell me if it's any good. This is out. As per usual, we are going to talk dogs and dog training. We're going to do this one real short. Again, this is more of a tester than anything else. I'm not driving yet. That's why it sounds good. I'm curious when I start driving what's going to happen. I want to see if I can drive and do this. Obviously, I'm not in Canada. I'm in somewhere in the United States right now. Just to be clear. Okay, sounds good. Oh, that's awesome. So how you guys all doing? As you guys know, there's a gun range in the background. You guys might hear that. As you guys know, I am preparing for regionals. I got 2 dogs in the upcoming regionals. And man, it is a mission to get these dogs ready. A lot of work. You're saying this is the best live quality I've ever had? Okay, let me start driving. Give me a sec. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the phone mount holds up to all the movement. It might be really shaky. I'm suspicious I may have to change the phone mount, but we'll find out. So we're driving, smoking a cigar, and talking dogs. What could be better? What am I driving? I'm driving my dog car, of course. Yeah, cars, dogs, horses, cigars. That's right. Why not? We'll see how this thing holds up to the bumps. I'm a little suspicious it might not do too well. All right. So I'm going to tell you guys something that I've definitely learned as of late with my dog, Gage. Man, like, the dog that you had last year, like, let's say you're training. Let's assume you're training. Yeah, see, this stupid thing's moving. Let's assume you're training, okay? And you're preparing for something, or you're just training your dog on a regular basis. One thing that I've learned very recently, every time maybe you think you've learned your dog a little bit, like, okay, like I kind of know when he needs to rest. I know how much gas in the tank he has. I know how much stress he can handle. I know how much excitement he can handle, so on and so forth. As they age and they become more experienced in all these patterns, things change. They can become more sensitive. They can become less sensitive. They can become more, like their gas tank can become less, or their gas tank can become more. And especially if you're training your dog in something where you need the dog to be at the optimum level of performance, like I do in IGP, and I know I always bang the drum of optimum performance. But when you do this, by the way, let me know if you guys can hear. Still sounds fine, a little bouncy. Okay. I think the phone mount maybe needs to be changed. I don't think it's a very good phone mount. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so like the thing that I'm finding when I'm trying to keep Gage at this top level is that he's not the same dog year in, year out. The dog he was at 2 is not the same as the dog he was at 3. The dog he was at 4, like the dog he was last year, and the things that I did last year to prepare him, they're not the same that I already can see. I'm trying to kind of do the same thing that I did last year. It's not working. And I'm 3 weeks out from competition. You know, I gotta change up what I'm doing. It seems like I get a new dog every year. And, it's a learning experience. Everything's a learning experience. Every time you think you've got it figured out, there's another curveball. And what I'm finding right now is with him, he's got way less of a gas tank than what I'm used to. And, he's not bringing me his all in protection like he normally did. In case you guys were following me last year, his 2024, the protection at the World Championship 2024 was the best protection of his life. And I'm trying to, prepare him for that level again in the upcoming trial season. And I see that what I'm doing right now is definitely not working, like in terms of getting that optimum performance. I have to change things up. I have to do something completely different. And I'm not sure quite yet what I'm going to do. I'm changing constantly what I'm doing with him. But I'm going to tell you guys, here's the thing. Stress, okay? Stress can come from two things. Stress can come from the application of something that's difficult for the dog, an aversive experience, so on and so forth. But stress can also come from repetition, right? Repetition, the same thing over and over again. Even if you think you're changing it, maybe you're not changing it enough. The second things become predictable, for some dogs that becomes stressful. So the thing that I'm finding with him is I think things got a little bit too predictable. And he became a little bit too wise to the entire routine. So now I have to find a way to excite him. When he's excited, when he's feeling excited, right? When he's feeling frustrated, when he's feeling angry, that's when I get his best performance. When he's kind of bored, or, he's doing it, but he's not like maybe at the highest state of arousal, that's when I lose the edge. That's when he starts making mistakes. That's when he doesn't do things in a state of full power. And I'm chasing that full power state with this dog. And it's because he's such a emotional dog, it's just such a roller coaster. It's like sometimes I think I'm onto it, and then I'm like, okay, I can't do what I did 6 months ago. It's not working anymore. I got to change it up. So he's a dog that's just always keeping me on my toes. What car am I driving? I'm driving my new Dogmobile. No, I'm driving a Corvette. I'm driving a Corvette, for those of you that like cars. I like cars. I'm not like a big car guy, like, know everything about them kind of deal, but I like them. I appreciate them, just like I like horses, not a big horse guy, but I like them. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because you're not there, right? So you're saying, oh, is he stressed or bored, stressed from... Listen, it's always hard to communicate with people about something that they don't do, right? So like, obviously you don't have any experience with the dog sport, so maybe, it's hard to understand, especially when we're talking about optimum level of performance, right? Optimum level of performance, the dog needs to be in the highest state of arousal, so he needs to be so excited. And then he also needs to be very concentrated, because if he's not concentrated and he's just excited, he's going to make a ton of mistakes and he's going to really screw things up, right? But if he's not excited enough, he's going to look fairly flat out there. He's not going to be fast. He's not going to be powerful. There's not going to be a big wow factor with anything that he does, and that's bad too. So it's all about striking the balance. Is he stressed or bored? I think he's a little bit of both. I think there's some stress and there's some boredom. And stress doesn't necessarily come from bad things happening. A lot of people perceive stress as like a negative association. But I want you to think of it like, for those of you that have done sports, right? So let's say you really enjoy soccer, okay? So you play soccer. You go out there, you play soccer. Let's say every time you went out and played soccer, it was like an hour-long game, and you scored goals, and there was a lot of challenges. They scored against you. Sometimes the ball was taken from you, sometimes you took the ball. A lot of good things happen and some difficult things happened. Some things that were adversity for you happened, and you do it a lot. Let's say you kept doing it and you really loved it, like maybe for the first 3 months. But then month 4 comes in. Maybe you're a little tired. You've been playing a lot. You go out there and you're like, man, scoring goals, it's not really that exciting for me anymore. I've scored so many now. Or man, I'm so tired of losing the ball. I'm so tired of losing the ball. They take the ball from me all the time. I'm so tired of losing the ball. You know what I mean? And the losing the ball before, maybe it bothered you a little bit, but it didn't bother you that much. But all of a sudden, it really starts to bother you. On top of that, you're tired. On top of that, goals aren't that meaningful for you anymore. And so your motivation is lower, your stress is higher, and your boredom is also there, so you're not as excited. And the excitement is what really got you through some of the adversity in the beginning. That is when you're trying to keep a dog at the peak level in dog sport. And of course, they're all different, right? Haha, you served in Nam. This guy is hilarious, Ben. You need to shave, young man. I served in Nam. Not so whippersnappers like you could drive around in your hot rods with your unkempt beards. Ben, I think you're joking, but goddamn, bro, you're funny. You are funny. You served in Nam. And if you did serve in Nam, I mean, that must have been a hell of an experience. It's funny. One of my biggest, my best friends that I do IGP with is Vietnamese. So I should ask him what it was like over there. Jose Gomez says, that's deep. What the hell do you do there? I was in the VC. Yeah, I think he was too. Okay, so I'm spitballing now, okay? Because I haven't done it yet. So I can't speak to what I haven't done. I only know what I did last year, and I did the year before that. I don't know what I did this year, right? Because it hasn't happened yet. We haven't done our first trial yet. But what if we change the outcome from scoring goals to something else? Maybe if we can find something else that the dog is really excited about, we'll bring the fire back, right? Maybe he just needs a bigger prize for scoring goals, so to speak, right? There's so many different things like that you could try. You know, maybe we need to completely so remember what I was saying about stress, right? Over time, stress becomes, the way a dog perceives stress is different. Repetition can create stress in and of itself. You don't necessarily even need to increase the level of stress, right? It's simply the repetition over and over again can bring stress in and of itself. So obviously you have to reduce the pressure that you are applying. That's a given. Like, the pressure needs to be reduced, but you can't completely dispense with it, because if you dispense with it, then the concentration goes out the window and the dog loses all correctness. But on the flip side, he's not excited enough anymore. So I need to do some stuff that he's really not expecting, some stuff that really makes it fun for him again, some stuff that really spikes his arousal. But I can't do it too soon, because the trial is like 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away. So if I do it too soon, it's a problem, right? So there's some things I'm going to try. I'm not going to tell you guys about them until I try them and I see if they work or they don't work. Onyx says, midlife crisis Corvette, love it has. When does the Florida operation open up? Man, you keep pressuring me about this Florida operation. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's just getting nice here now. The weather's nice. It's a bad time to be thinking about Florida. But I know I do need to think about it if I'm ever going to get there, especially with our new political situation, with the new political situation in Canada. So we'll see. We'll see. But I don't have anything concrete there yet. Let's see here. And give him a live bite. Auckland says, I read your book. You should write another one that goes more into detail on things like this. How many people compete in dog sport? It's not something that people really care about. And here's the thing. I do stuff outside of IGP with the dog. Like, I've done alley stuff. I've done things like that, right? So just doing that in and of itself is actually not going to bring that same, let's say I do something in the woods right now with the dog, right? That fire that he has in the woods is not going to translate onto the IGP field, right? What you have to do it in the context of IGP. If you want that fire, if you want the dog to be on that red line, right? What you do to create that emotion in the dog needs to happen in the same context that he's going to perform in. So, all right. Question on yesterday's video. My trainer lists 4 fundamental drives: prey, sex, defensive, and pack. Why don't you list sex drive in your fundamental drives? Because sex drive is like useless for what we're talking about. Like, it's not going to help us in any capacity. What are you going to do? Like, roll in a bitch in heat's like urine and try and use that to like make the dog interested in you? It's like, it doesn't have any kind of impact, on what we're doing when it comes to dog training. So like, yeah, sex drive is like one of those things to like, it's not going to help us to talk about it. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense for what we're doing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other drives too, the fundamental bodily functions or reproductive functions that I haven't thought about. But from a training perspective, they don't mean much. Chili Dude says, can you wish a happy birthday to my friend Nick Gurr? Happy birthday, Nick Gurr. Let's see. Dick Techno says, Lotus Elise, the best car. Yeah, I don't know. Lotuses have never excited me. It's kind of like a Doberman. It's like, I get it. People like them. They have a look. But for me, it's not the thing. You know what I mean? For me, I'm a German Shepherd guy. That's why I like the American cars. A German Shepherd guy. I like the American. Did I really think about it? Well, why do I like the German Shepherd? I like the German Shepherd because they're not overly sensitive. They're a thinking dog, and their power, when you have a good one, they're so powerful, and there's nothing like the power of a strong German Shepherd. For me, I like cars the same way. Has going for the 400K GoFundMe. I don't know. Nowadays, it seems like the best way to get a GoFundMe is to like either say something like super racist on the internet or kill somebody. That seems to be like really the only way to do well on the GoFundMe side. So hopefully not. I need to write another book. Yeah, I need to find the time to write another book. Between all this training and cigar smoking and driving, it's going to be hard, but I'm sure we'll do it at some point. What else do we know? I don't know anything about Sarabi dog, man. If you're talking about like Alibi, I've trained a couple of them. They're your typical livestock guardian dog, cool dogs, livestock guardian. He made you say Nick Gurr. Oh, I get it. Funny. I hope it was worth it. He gave me €2. That's a coffee. I mean, he deserves it, right? Joe Schmo, the Amish don't smoke. You're going to get shunned. Man, I'll drive you guys. I'm actually really close to some Amish. One of these days, I'll go drive up there. I actually like driving around there. It's super cool to see them rolling around in their carts, so on and so forth. But oh, you go, who's the Amish grandpa? Ask your grandma, she'll tell you. All right, anybody else got any dog stuff for me? I think we figured out that this does work, but I need to make some changes to the foam mount here. How would you get a dog in the water that wasn't confident in it? I hate the slow approach. I don't do nothing slow, right? I don't do anything slow. I don't drive slow. I don't train slow. Nothing. I won't finish that sentence. Anyways, look, with anything, when you have a dog that's afraid of something, it's not that they're necessarily afraid of doing the thing. It's like I said before, it's that they don't believe they can do it. Right? So it's all about showing them that they can, right? It's like, think about, for me, like I'm not big on the heights, right? And I always use this example. I was at some bungee jumping thing in like Costa Rica. I knew I would have a problem to jump, so I just told them to push me off. Once they pushed me off, it was fun, and I wanted to do it again. It's the same thing with the dogs in the water or anything else that you could think of, right? So with the water, what I'll do is I'll typically go in the water if I can, and I will put a line on the dog and I'll pull him forward, and he's gonna fight like with all his like heart, right? I'm gonna pull him right to the edge. And right when I'm at the edge, right, I'm just gonna keep him there. And he's gonna try and fight back. And I'm gonna keep him there with the leash, okay? And then the instant that he stops fighting, I'm gonna relax the leash, right? And usually when you relax the leash, they'll do one of two things. They'll stand there and just kind of look at you like, what the hell? Or they'll immediately try to back up again. If he tries to back up again, I'll pull on the leash again and I'll wait until he stops fighting. Then I'll let him stand there and just take in the fact that his paws are on the edge of the dock or wherever it is that you're at, and he hasn't died and nothing bad has happened, and he's gonna be, a little bit like, okay, taking it in. Then after a few seconds, I'm gonna pull again a little bit on the leash. He's gonna start fighting. I'm just gonna keep pulling until finally he's going to come off the front of the dock and into the water, right? Then I'm going to guide him to the ramp or whatever it is that you have. I'm using a dock as an example because I have like a dock diving pool. And I'm just going to simply do it again. By the way, the girl that does my dock diving lessons and stuff for all my clients, she doesn't do it like that because, they're a little more sensitive and they like things a little bit different. They like the slow way. So I say, no problem, do it the slow way. Do it with the encouragement and all the stuff that, people prefer to do with their dogs. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I'm in a rush. You know what I mean? I'm like, let's get to the part where you're jumping off the dock and we're having a good time. If you've got a pool or something that has like a shallow end, it's even better, right? You can pull them into their paws. Like a lake or something like this, you pull them in till they're about at the stomach, then you let them go out, then you pull them back in. And the key is to get them going in and out. In the beginning, they fight with you, then after a while, they just do it on their own, and then you're in the money. When will the next litter of puppies be announced? I'm waiting for some females to go into heat, so not yet. What's going on? You still have me thinking about the soccer dilemma. That's dog sport. Dog sport is one giant puzzle, right? That's what I love about it. It's like one giant dog training puzzle. And every time you think you've got it figured out, it kicks you in the balls. And it's like, no, actually you don't have us figured out. You don't have me figured out. Keep trying, right? So I have a lot of respect for trainers that are able to do it multiple times and stay at the highest level with every one of them experiences failure to some degree. Like you'll get guys that, have been on the podium that still go out there and in a trial and their dog won't track or, there's always something new. And of course, different dogs present different challenges. There's some dogs where it's like more pretty straightforward what you need to do and you're able to repeat it over and over again. And there's other dogs like Gage that for me, man, there's always something different with him. And I'm just like, he's always keeping me on my toes. And sometimes, you get that feeling like, why me? Like, why don't I have one of these other dogs, that's like more easy, that's more straightforward, that's more simple? Why do I have this dog that's such a pain in the ass? And then I say, you know what? Thank God I have this dog, because not only were we able to have some success together, but also this is what makes you a better trainer. These constant challenges. If things were straightforward, then when somebody else brought me that problem, and I've been in this situation before with dogs where it's like, I've had a dog and it's been such a pain in the ass. There's always been something new, something different, something difficult, something that maybe goes a little bit outside the norm. And then, I've been in that like, man, why me? Why do I always end up with these things? And then, I work my way through it and I figure it out. And then somebody brings me that same dog, not that same dog, obviously, but like a version of that dog down the road. Somebody brings me that dog and I'm like, I know what to do. I know how to help you with this thing, and they've been to this person and that person and, some well-known people, and they're not able to get help. But I've been through it because I've had that dog that just kept me on my toes, or I had that dog that was super hard to figure out. So, we have to be thankful for these challenges. You just hope that you make it through and you're able to perform. Do I have any face-to-face mentorship other than what's online? No, I mean, I do Zooms online. But not I don't have an in-person mentorship because it would require me to commit a certain amount of time. Doesn't mean that I'll never have one. It just means that at this time, I'm not ready to commit to one. There might be one coming soon. Again, we just have to look at the dates. And we just got to look up, we just got to look at the dates and make sure that I'm able to string together the time necessary to commit to a group of people for an in-person, whether it's a short-term kind of shadow or an apprenticeship program, so on and so forth. But yeah, that's why I do it online, because it allows me to do it remotely, right? Someone asked an interesting question here. Do you think that balance trainers, instead of trying to tell people the flaws with anti-aversive studies, should just continue showing more footage of their off-leash, obviously happy-looking dogs? It's a big part of it, but no. So like one thing that we must learn, right? And this is the mistake they made in Europe, right? They said, okay, like there's obviously a lot of really good dog trainers in Europe. And obviously a lot of the cutting edge stuff, that we do, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it does come from Europe. The stuff with the e-collars, the stuff with, pressure, the stuff with, training dogs in drive, a lot of that stuff comes from Europe. But those guys that were really strong trainers, really good trainers, really balanced trainers, the guys that could really train those super tough dogs, that would chew most people up and that have shared their knowledge over the generations, they ignored the crazy force-free people. They ignored the girls with the ladies with the blue hair that were saying all sorts of crazy off-the-wall stuff. They said, well, our results speak for ourselves. We've been multiple times world champions. We're police dog trainers. We're military dog trainers. We've done so much in the dog world. Our success is undeniable. Let us be quiet. Let us ignore these crazy people. Let them continue to talk and say their nonsense. No one could possibly believe them. And all of a sudden, all their tools were banned. Their training was criminalized. Now they must hide like criminals when they train, right? If they want to be successful at the world championships. Now they must hide what they do behind closed doors. Everybody has to put their phone in a box before training, right? That's what happens when you're quiet. That's what happens when you say, oh, I'll just let the results speak for themselves. We are no longer in the day and age where people are sensible enough as a society in general for like results to speak for themselves. It's just not going to work. So unfortunately, we must combat them not just with actual results, but with propaganda, right? With propaganda, because for whatever reason, in this day and age that we're in, not only are people, very open to emotional arguments that maybe have very little grounding in logic and reason, but have a ton of emotional appeal, which is basically the force-free training philosophy in a nutshell. But they're also open to arguments from authority. So like if you can say, well, the scientists have said that this thing that I'm doing is legitimate and that thing that they're doing is not legitimate, people will literally ignore their eyes. Like you will show them multiple times like a dog doing something that the blue hair lady can't do, and they will still say, well, the scientists said. And it's like, bro, the scientists can't train dogs. The scientists can't train. That person she's quoting, right? That doctor she's quoting, he can't train a dog, bro. Like, he can't even make an off-leash recall reliably. He's doing science in a lab with rats and pigeons. And you're quoting him about dog training. He can't even teach a recall. He couldn't fix reactivity if his life depended on it. And you're quoting him like he's some kind of an authority. You're talking about, but the argument from authority still works. So no, we must combat them in every capacity. And I do my very best to not only show the work, whether it's with dogs that have behavioral problems, dog sport, just regular functional obedience, but also when it comes to dealing with counter propaganda, I think the best way to combat them, a lot of people try to combat them intellectually, like, oh, like, let's have a conversation about the science, and oh, the science doesn't really show what you're saying it shows, and blah blah blah, and and I think there's some value to that, but really, at the end of the day, they're emotional, right? It is an emotional argument fundamentally. That's why it's so successful. So for me, I laugh at them. And I get others to laugh at them because they are truly ridiculous. And when you actually, so like when we make like when I do like the little skits that I do on YouTube or Instagram or whatever else, I'm having fun, obviously, right? I love to laugh. I love to enjoy myself. But I'm also doing it for a more serious purpose. And my serious purpose is to marginalize them. And the best way to marginalize them is to allow people to recognize them for the ridiculous and silly people that they are. You know, they're not people that are operating from a place of, you know, reason, logic, sound mental health. They're people that are generally, you know, they have mental issues, and that's an unfortunate thing, you know, and they're not operating from a logical, grounded, natural place. They have a terrible mindset. So the best way to combat it is to get people to laugh at them, and then also show, and then also talk about the science. But I think the most effective way that you can deal with them is to get people to laugh at them. And so I'm doing the very best. I'm doing the Lord's work. I'm trying to get as many people to laugh at the silly people as possible, because I think that, you know, they are truly demons among us. And I don't mean demons in the literal sense. I mean demons in the sense that they twist the truth, and they actively spread lies, and they actively work to suppress the truth. And I think that is a demonic trait. And so I do my very best to combat it wherever I can. Someone says, tell the truth, after you're done with the live stream, you're going to go burn the wheels off that Corvette. I have no comment, but I am somewhere in the United States, and I definitely would never break the law. You need to see me and Zach George in the octagon 1 versus 1. Yeah, I don't think that would go particularly well for Zach, but we could keep it simple. We'll just do a dog training competition. How about that? How do I fix separation anxiety? Good news. I have a free video on YouTube on how to fix separation anxiety. Feel free to watch it. They say dogs are the only animals that can read a human face. Do you think that is true? No, I don't think that's true. But dogs can certainly comprehend nonverbal communication very well, because they're primarily nonverbal communicators. But facial expressions, not particularly. I don't find that they're super sensitive to that. They're more sensitive to the movement of your body and your intonation. So the way that you move and the tone of your voice, I think is much more impactful than any expression you have or do not have on your face. Someone says, nice rent-a-car. Did you rent it to me? Did you rent it to me? Thank you for renting it to me. Jose Gomez says, that is cool. I'm learning to do basic IGP decoy, and I feel like I'm doing terrible in the sense that there's so much to learn troubleshooting a dog. Man, unfortunately, the only way to learn is by doing. And when you do, you're going to make mistakes. But there's no point to feel bad about it. The only thing that you need to do is you need to recognize when you're making the mistake, and then say to yourself, how can I make it better? And then just simply do it better the next time. And it's becoming a good decoy that's able to build dogs. Man, that's going to take you a couple years. So as long as you accept that it's going to take you a couple years, you'll be fine. Looks like I'm in Illinois. Yeah, we'll say I'm in Illinois. Braulio Rodriguez says, hey, Haz, which one of your courses would be best to learn how to establish near competition level focus heel in my 7-month-old Malinois? Well, I would say the Secret Sauce course paired with the Power Healing course. You put those two together, you're going to get extreme focus. Of all the problems I'm having, I'm telling you, I don't have a problem with my healing. Dog's full power in the healing. Will I be doing any seminars in Florida? All I can say is stand by. We'll see. We'll see. It's possible. Let's see here. Rev it a bit. I don't think I will. There's a lot of people around, and I don't like to be an asshole. Contrary to popular belief, come to Florida. Need to learn from real. I was in Florida. I was in Florida twice last year, and once for an entire month, and it was awesome. But maybe look me up next time I'm there. Still struggling when there are distractions, but oh, you bought my puppy course with a 5-month-old Caucasian Shepherd. Well, don't beat yourself up too much. Those are not easy dogs to train because they're not really designed to be well trained. So you can certainly train them well. Just understand that that is not their natural state. So you got to put in a little more work than, let's say, if you had like a lab or a shepherd, right? Brian says, you need an Afghan hound with you. Long blonde hair sitting in the front seat with you. Make people do a double take. Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to allow any dogs in this vehicle. We'll see. But if I want long blonde hair in the car, I don't need to put a dog here. So, rich guy. I'm not a rich guy. Not at all. I want to be rich one day. God willing, I will be, but I am not a rich guy. Let's see what else we got here. This is the guy that rear-ended me on the highway. Would it be safe to assume you have no issues in protection? No. I'm having a problem in the blind with Gage, actually. I'm having a little bit of problems in the guarding. So, yeah. Now people want to talk about what rich is. How many inches is it, Unc? Man, I don't know what it is about you. There's a lot of funny people on YouTube, man. Some of you guys are good, I have to say. Casey says, I've been contemplating purchasing the reactive course. How much success do you see with the course? My German Shepherd is extremely nervous and strange aggressive. She has gotten better, but still can't be trusted. A lot of success. A lot of success. You can go and read the reviews on it, or talk to people that have taken it. There's a lot of people that had reactive dogs that no longer have reactive dogs, and all they did was take the course. So, it would depend on your ability. I find people have different abilities, right? Like, some people, you really need to show them in person. Other people, they're really good at, like, watching something and, like, learning from it and implementing what they watch. They're really good at, following instructions that they see on a screen, or that they read, right? Just like with my book. People have literally fixed their reactive dogs with my book. They've literally trained their dog fully off leash with my book. And then there's other people that they read my book and they can take my course, but at the end of the day, I still need to see them in person for them to get anywhere. It's just that simple. Harold says, working German Shepherd breaks down sometimes when ball is thrown. Nose down stay and recall without a shadow of a doubt. Been negatively reinforcing strongly with e-collar, but will still blow through it at 100. Use a back line, right? Use a back line. And if your negative reinforcement is such that the dog can blow through it, your negative reinforcement is not strong enough. So you need a little more top end in that collar. No, slip lead probably not going to work. Jose Gomez says, the definition of rich for me has changed every 5 years. Exactly. When I was young, you know, again, we're getting kind of off the topic of dogs, but maybe it's kind of like, it relates generally to dog training, because, you know, what some people perceive as impossible, you know, is actually very possible, right? But it's all about where you happen to be at the time. I remember when I was young, my dream was to get a job making like 20 bucks an hour. And to me, I was like, man, I don't even know what I would do with all that money. Right? I was like, man, if I could get a job, I'd make like 20 bucks an hour. I'd be so happy, you know? Then I was like, wow, like, you know, I got a job. I'm making like, you know, 60 grand a year. Like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? So it's like, everything's relative. And it's important, I think, to feel fortunate and blessed wherever you happen to be in life, but always to strive for more. And I think it's the same thing with dog training. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up just because my phone is about to die. But I think I figured out what I need to do on the next one here. So I would say the car live was a minor success. I won't call it 100% success. It was a minor success. So we'll see. All right, you guys, enjoy your the rest of your week and your weekend. If I don't see you before then, you all have a fantastic day.